Hi, so I'm ready to start chapter 6, which the name of this chapter is Beezus's birthday. So you remember from the last chapter that Ramona had her own party and had all her friends over, and that did not end so well because she told them about there being worms in the fig Newtons, which that wasn't true. And so now we're on chapter 6, which is Beezus's birthday. When Beezus came home from school on the afternoon of her 10th birthday, she felt that so far the day had been perfect. Packages by her plate at breakfast, a new dress to wear to school, the whole class singing happy birthday just for her. But the best part was still to come. Aunt Beatrice was coming for dinner because remember they talked about that in the last chapter where she was talking about what she wanted for her birthday. Beezus could hardly wait to tell her aunt about acting the part of Sacagawea leading Lewis and Clark across the plains to Oregon at a PTA meeting. That's like PTO. And of course, Aunt Beatrice would bring more presents, very special presents, because she was Aunt Beatrice's namesake. And at dinner, there would be a beautiful birthday cake with 10 candles. Mother had probably worked all afternoon baking and decorating the cake and now had it hidden away in the cupboard, like in the cabinet. When Mother kissed Beezus, she had said, "I'm sorry, Beezus, but I'll have to ask you to keep Ramona out of the kitchen for a while." "Why?" asked Beezus, thinking her mother was planning a surprise. "So I can bake your birthday cake," Mother explained. "Isn't it baked yet?" exclaimed Beezus. "Oh, Mother, this has been one of those days when I couldn't seem to get anything done," said Mother. "It was my morning for the nursery school carpool. After I picked up all the children and drove them to nursery school and came home and did the breakfast dishes and made the beds, it was time to pick up the children and take them all home again. And after lunch, I started the cake and had just creamed the sugar and butter in the electric mixer when I was called to the telephone. When I came back, what do you think had happened?" So in your head, be thinking, what do you think might have happened that caused a problem? "What?" asked Beezus. Pretty sure Ramona had something to do with it. Ramona had dropped all the eggs in the house into the batter and had started the mixer, said Mother. "Shells and all?" asked Beezus, horrified. "Shells and all," repeated Mother wearily. "And so I had to get out the car again and drive to the market or the store and buy more eggs." So this is a picture of her, of course, dropping the eggs into the batter, which that'd be bad. You can't have eggshells in your cake batter. "Ramona, what did you have to go and do a thing like that for?" Beezus demanded of her little sister who was playing with her doll, Bendix. "To see what would happen," answered Ramona. "She doesn't look a bit sorry," thought Beezus crossly. "Spoiling my birthday cake like that? Don't worry, dear. There's still plenty of time to bake another," said Mother. "If you'll just keep Ramona out of the kitchen, I can get it into the oven in no time at all." That made Beezus feel better. At least she would have a birthday cake, even if it did mean looking after Ramona for a while. "Read to me," Ramona demanded. "Read Big Steve." "I'll read to you, but I won't read that book," said Beezus, going to the bookcase. She really wanted to read one of her birthday books called 202 Things to Do on a Rainy Afternoon. But she knew Ramona would insist on a story. "How about Hansel and Gretel?" she asked. Next to stories with lots of noise, Ramona liked stories about witches and goblins and ogres. "Yes, I like Hansel and Gretel," agreed Ramona as she climbed on the Davenport. That's like a place where it's like a carport where people would put cars, and sat Bendix down beside her. "Okay, I'm ready. Now you can begin." Beezus curled up at the other end of the Davenport with Grimm's fairy tales. That's what Hansel and Gretel comes from. "Once upon a time," she began, and Ramona listened contentedly. When she did not have to make noises like machinery, Beezus enjoyed reading to Ramona, and this afternoon reading aloud was particularly pleasant, with her mother in the kitchen baking a birthday cake. As Beezus read, she listened to the whir of the mixer and the sound of the eggs being cracked against a bowl. Beezus read about Hansel's leaving a trail of crumbs behind him as he and Gretel went into the woods. She read the part Ramona liked best about the witches trying to fatten Hansel. Ramona listened wide-eyed until Beezus came to the end of the story where Gretel pushed the witch into the oven and escaped through the woods with her brother. That's a good story, said Ramona, as she thought, oh, I skipped a page, sorry, as she jumped down from the Davenport. Surprised that Ramona didn't demand another story, Beezus picked up 202 Things to Do on a Rainy Afternoon and began to read. Now, the thing that worries me, and you're probably thinking the same thing, okay, I'm thinking you can't leave Ramona alone. She's going to do something she shouldn't do. It says she was learning how to make a necklace out of beans and pumpkin seeds painted with fingernail polish when a lovely, sweet vanilla fragrance began to fill the house, and Beezus knew her birthday cake was safely in the oven at last. Ramona's unusual silence made Beezus glance up from her book. Ramona, she cried when she saw what her little sister was doing. Stop that right away. Ramona was busy pulling graham cracker crumbs out of the pockets of her overalls and sprinkling them across the rug. I'm Hansel, leaving a trail of crumbs through the wood, she said, digging more crumbs out of her pocket. My father is a poor woodcutter. Oh, Ramona, said Beezus, but she had to giggle at the picture of father as a poor woodcutter. Ramona sprinkled more crumbs on the rug, and Beezus knew she had to do something about it. Why don't you pretend you're Gretel? She suggested, because Gretel would not leave crumbs on the rug. Okay, agreed Ramona. That was easy, thought Beezus, and went on reading about making a complete set of doll furniture out of old milk cartons. How good her birthday cake smelled. She hoped Mother would remember she had asked for pink frosting. She heard the oven door open and close, and Mother must be peeking into the oven to see how my cake is coming along, she thought. Now, I'm worrying right now of I know what Gretel did at the end when she pushed the witch into the oven. So I'm thinking, is she doing something there? That's what I'm thinking. Beezus read on, absorbed in the directions of making a vase out of an old tomato juice can. Something smells funny, she thought as she turned a page, and then she stopped and sniffed. The air was no longer filled with the lovely, warm fragrance of a baking cake. It was filled with a horrid, that means really bad, rubbery smell. That's funny, thought Beezus. I wonder what it can be. And she sniffed again. Maybe somebody was burning trash outside. In the olden days, that's something that people could do. And the smell was coming in through the window. Mother came into the living room from the bedroom. Beezus, do you smell something rubbery? She asked anxiously. Yes, and it smells awful, said Beezus. Ramona held her nose. Mother sniffed again. It smells as if something is scorching too. Scorching means like it's being burned. Beezus went into the kitchen where she found the smell so strong that it made her cough. It's worse in here, Mother, she called, as she looked to see if anything was burning on the stove. Then Beezus remembered the oven. Mother, she said in a worried voice, you don't suppose something has happened to my birthday cake again? Of course not, said Mother, coming into the kitchen and opening the window. What could happen to it? Just to be sure, Beezus cautiously opened the oven door. Mother, she cried, horrified at what she saw. Look! Ramona's rubber doll, Bendix, leaned over the edge of the cake pan, her head and arms buried in the batter. Her dress was scorched to a golden tan. Oh, Mother, repeated Beezus. Her birthday cake, her beautiful, fragrant, that means something that smells good, birthday cake was ruined. Is the witch done yet? Ramona asked. Ramona, began Mother and stopped. She couldn't think of anything else to say. Silently, she turned off the oven and with a pot holder pulled out the doll and the remains of the cake. And this is a picture of them in the, I'm still working on how to turn it so that you can see it. There we go. And there's Ramona looking so happy in what she's doing. Ramona Geraldine Quimby, said Beezus angrily. You're just awful. That's what you are. Just plain awful. Spoiling your own sister's birthday cake? You told me to pretend I was Gretel, protested Ramona, and Gretel pushed the witch into the oven. Beezus looked at the cake and burst into tears.